Hello, church family. My name is Camren May, and today I get the privilege of going over with you the attribute wrath, God's wrath. So, God's wrath is something that we see from the Old Testament to the New Testament. For example, in Exodus 32, we have the Israelites building a golden calf, and God is so angry at the Israelites for them building this golden calf and worshiping it that he actually chooses to smite them from the earth. However, Moses intercedes for them, and God decides to not actually smite them from the earth. I'm sure you can think of many other examples of God's wrath in the Old Testament, just because there's quite a few good stories there, and I just don't have the time to go over each and every one of them. So moving on to the New Testament, we see in Romans 1:18, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. And then in John 3:36, we have, "He who believes in the Son has eternal life, but he who does not obey the Son will not see life, but the wrath of God abides on him." And in Mark 11, we actually get an example of God displaying his righteous anger through Jesus in the synagogue, where Jesus is flipping tables and kicking out the thieves and the other merchants because they are not in reverence for the holy place of the synagogue. So now from those examples, we can start putting together a definition, and a good definition for the wrath of God is the personal manifestation of his holy moral character in judgment against sin. We saw that in the synagogue, we saw that in the story of the Israelites, and through that definition and these examples, we can start to see what God's wrath is not. It's not irrational. It's not a God that's just randomly angry at people for no apparent reason. It's not vindictive or malicious. So because of those things, of what it's not, and of what God's wrath is, we can later rest a common misconception or objection to God, and that is that if God is so loving, then why is he wrathful or angry towards us or towards people? And the reason for that is, if God wasn't wrathful or judgmental towards sin, then that would show that he was delighted by sin, or that he approved of sin. And if God approved or delighted in sin, then there would have been nothing for Jesus to have done on the cross for us. Because Jesus dying on the cross, Jesus took the full wrath of God for everyone who is saved. Now, in that, it's very, very humbling when you think about that. When God's wrath is judgment towards sin, and Jesus took on the entire wrath of God for those of us that are saved. Now, that is incredibly humbling, and just, it's hard for me to even formulate the words for what that kind of just means to me, because I know all the sins that I've committed in my life, and I think about all of the people that Jesus has saved, and then all of those sins poured into judgment onto Jesus, so that way we may be in heaven with him. It's just, I just can't put the words to it. So I hope, church family, this was meaningful and that you guys learned something. Welcome your feedback. So let me know what you guys thought, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.